Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Polaris9114, this redditor wrote, "My dad and I saw this happening not far from our house. We saw frequent lightning strikes in the clouds, yet there is no sound from the lightning whatsoever, and I have never seen anything like this in my life." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Do you guys happen to know what this could be? 'Cause we sure as heck don't. Is Darth Sidious mad or something? We need answers, and preferably before our house gets struck with lightning.
In the comments, Shabby Kitten Rebel wrote, "Could be heat lightning," while Muram Wins wrote, "Had it happen last night here, the sky all around looked like that for a couple hours, and suddenly a huge hailstorm hit that was super loud through the house, and the street was a little flooded, so it appears that regardless of the lack of storm noise, commenters seem to be in agreement that it's still storm related. Do you think that's the case? Let me know in the comments." Final video is about as close as it gets. First, a piece of manufacturing equipment malfunctions and causes a pileup of white-hot steel material. The pressure around the blockage continues to build until coils of unformatted steel shoot across the factory floor. The first worker sees the carnage and runs in a zigzag pattern to escape. The second worker, a supervisor from the looks of his clean white shirt, has his back turned and doesn't notice anything until it's too late to react. A rope of liquid steel stops short at his feet and piles all around him. He escapes only to have the machinery behind him burst apart and send more rivets of steel his way. The equipment is shut off, and more of the substance falls to the exact spot where he was just standing. A YouTuber named NoahDB5 hopes to find creepy haunted places to explore around his campus, and so Randonautica takes him to a nearby cemetery, but not just any cemetery.
Oh god, there's more screaming as we're approaching the graveyard.
A cemetery with scary, screaming noises at night, and later on, while exploring a different area, he hears the same scary noises again, this time from deeper within the woods.
Okay guys, hold on. I'm not kidding. Something from the forested area, we're hearing noises right now. I hope it happens again because it's right by the river, so it could— What is that, dude?
This sounds like it could be some kind of wild animal to me, but other people are saying that this could be a mysterious creature like the Rake, and that he is most likely being followed. Noah has asked if you would subscribe to his channel and check out his other videos like this one.
It's creeping me out. I lived here for going on 7 years and walked 100 miles through these woods. Never seen that shape before right there.
That's the reaction of James Jones after finding a strange human silhouette standing motionless in the Tennessee forest. What's especially perplexing is how James should be close enough to see the person's facial features, yet their entire visage is shrouded in darkness.
It's not a broken tree or whatever. I don't know, it looks like it's connected right there, but it's not. I've been over there 1,000 times.
Even if this was a tree, there's not much of a reason for it to be completely dark instead of the same color as every other tree around. It almost looks like the figure is wearing a colonial style hat. Maybe it's the spirit of a soldier from the Revolutionary War, or maybe they were a soldier in the Civil War. Let me know what you think it was, and if you think James was in any trouble on that day. Here's a video that is either 100% fake or 100% terrifying. A family from the Philippines is going for a joyride when they spot a pedestrian ahead of them who is scary enough to make them bust out the cameras and start recording. The obvious answer is that this person could have just pulled their shirt over their head as a prank, but look a little closer and you can see that there is a pair of fully developed shoulders that lead up to the neckline, right where the head should be. You can even see sweat stains where the shoulder blades are. Also, more importantly, how would they be able to walk so smoothly like that with a shirt covering both of their eyes? This person definitely has a strong sense of direction. I can't tell if this video is real or not, but a local myth in the Philippines would suggest it is actually real. Apparently, when you live in the Philippines and you see a person who is missing their head, it is a symbol that means they are going to pass away soon. Therefore, a lot of people think that this video is proof that the legend is real. This video was taken in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico sometime in 2015. The person filming had been hearing loud disturbances all around his house and grabbed a camera before running outside. He is trying to track the source of the movement. It sounds almost like a squeaky trampoline. Nervous birds are chattering loudly nearby. The cameraman zooms in on some of his backyard plants, but whatever is making the noise isn't hiding there. Suddenly, a series of loud bangs come from directly above. He swings the camera around and this is what he finds. What would you do in this situation? Maybe you'd scream, run for cover, or even grab a weapon. This cameraman stands frozen in place, however, too shocked to make a sound. Suddenly, the humanoid creature scrambles over the roof and makes a hasty escape. The person runs into the house and gets away. Both of them appear to be equally afraid of each other. If this long skinny creature is not CGI, then what could it possibly be?
This ladder is walking down the driveway. No one's touching it. No one's around it. And it's actually walking down the driveway.
That's the reaction of Tony Dode as he videotapes a walking ladder on its own. The ladder clatters down the driveway as if someone is guiding it in short steps, but nobody is near. If you have any possible explanations for this, or have seen this before with your own eyes, then please share your experience. If no one has a proper explanation, then this is one of the most perplexing videos I think I've analyzed on this channel to date. The grounds where a double life-taking has occurred is no place to be at night. The guys in this video learned that the hard way. Published to YouTube by the Valspire family in October of 2017, this ghost investigation has all the right ingredients for fear: a storm, an abandoned house at night in the middle of the woods, and a Ouija board. The host, Aiden, says the house has a super creepy backstory and is said to be haunted. The story goes that two male lovers built a mansion up in the woods. As such things weren't accepted at the time, the men had their lives taken in this home. The suspects received life sentences in 1982, but the fact that the police investigation turned up occult tools and books, along with the macabre decor of the home, turned the event into a media circus. The men were labeled devil worshippers. And now back to this video. The ghost investigators leave their house at midnight in a storm, planning to arrive at Corpsewood Manor at 3 a.m. They drive into the woods and then set out on foot on the path, not sure where they are, ready to get lost. They arrive at a fork in the road and finally find their way to the abandoned manor. Aiden hears a grumbling, which he admits may be thunder.
I heard like a grumbling, but that might have been thunder.
He says that his camera, with its full battery, keeps shutting off every time they attempt to start with the Ouija board. At 3 in the morning, they begin asking the Ouija board if anyone had their life taken there. Nothing happens, but they do hear something in the vicinity. Aiden says that he wants to go check it out and thinks it sounded like someone walking.
I heard someone over there.
Jared is freaked out, hearing another sound in the trees. He thinks it was probably the wind.
Dude, I heard something.
No, you did not.
They decide to leave because Jared can't take it anymore. Can you blame him? Aiden recalls that when he sat at the Ouija board and opened up the portal to the spirit world, he forgot to say goodbye, and he claims that ever since then, weird stuff has been happening. All I know is that place seriously seemed haunted. While light can certainly play tricks on us, and on a camera, things can get creepy. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Garno7 explains that he and some friends were hanging around their campfire near a lake, and one of them captured this on his phone. The clip shows a figure appearing to run from their group of people into the roaring flames. Watch as the camera pans from left to right. Can you see it? While many in the comments say the figure is nothing but a lens flare. A couple Redditors counter that argument. Redditor Patrick RS Ghost writes, "At first I thought it was some flare or something due to the transition from dark to light very quickly, but when I looked closer I could see something start to move within the crowd at around the 2-second mark, almost to the left of the little girl in the pink sweater, right as the camera starts to pan, and upon looking again, I can totally see what this Redditor is talking about. So now I think there's a good chance this could be paranormal, because when you take the time, it seems to sync up." These situations usually end badly. This one, although extremely frightening, ended as well as it could have. It was February 8th, 1977. Tony Kiritsis, a 44-year-old man from Indianapolis, was set to meet about his mortgage with Richard O. Hall, a mortgage broker. Kiritsis wasn't making his payments, and a request for an extension was denied. Kiritsis was afraid that Hall would sell his property for the equity. After they'd gone in for the meeting as normal, Kiritsis led Hall out of his office with a barrel held to the base of Hall's neck. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment plan in action. Kiritsis had thought this through. The barrel was wired to Hall's neck, while the trigger was wired to a ring he wore on his index finger. This meant that Hall would perish if he tried to run away, and he would perish as well if someone tried to retrieve the gun from Kiritsis. Before leaving the office, Kiritsis also phoned the cops to tell them that if they attempted to intervene, Hall's life would end. He then led Hall through the streets of Indianapolis to Kiritsis' apartment, where he held Hall captive for 3 days. Kiritsis' demands that his debt be eliminated, that he wouldn't be prosecuted for his actions, and that the mortgage company admit fault. This is the scary part that was caught on camera. Kiritsis alerted the news media that Richard Hall would be reading a statement that he, Kiritsis, had written. Hall could barely speak due to the strain from the wire against his neck, so Kiritsis ended up reading the piece himself live on air. His delivery lasted for 23 minutes. When Kiritsis got what he wanted, Hall was released unharmed. Police, of course, prosecuted Kiritsis, despite promising otherwise, and he was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He was thrown in a mental institution for 11 years. Later, he apologized for what he had done and said that he never wanted to hurt anyone. Thankfully, he didn't. Geschmack has a YouTube page full of regular vacation videos and then one creepy paranormal video. This one, an abandoned house he found while exploring a suburb of Los Angeles. There are supposed to be 2 ghost sightings caught on video, but are they real? Let's take a look. A lot of comments say this is an apparition wearing a white dress in the window here. It's hard to see, so you must pay attention. The ghost is wearing some kind of belt sash, like a bridal dress, and she is looking down with her hair over her eyes, or maybe a bride's veil. Can you see it? In reality, I'm pretty sure it's just glare from the sun. This second ghost sighting is much more bizarre and likely to be real. Check out this window at 6 minutes and 13 seconds. Something lifts the curtains and a face is caught in the window for a brief moment. When I point at its all black eye, the rest kind of falls in place. You can see the nose and tight-lipped expression underneath. Definitely not human. And if it's a reflection of something outside, then I don't know what it could be. When a YouTuber named Blake Smith's Gaming Blitz claims to have been hearing paranormal sounds from his basement, his followers suggest that he leaves a camera downstairs and record what happens. He takes their advice, and this is what his phone supposedly picks up. The video goes on like that for over a minute, but he comes back and gets his phone. If this video is fake, then I personally don't know where he got these effects from. It doesn't sound like any movie I've seen or any game I've ever played. If you recognize the sounds from somewhere, or if you think this is real, then I definitely want to get your opinion. Here's another video from the same channel so you can hear it some more.
Hello?
Please don't try this yourself, but apparently there's a part of the eye that can be touched without producing a stinging sensation. This person pulls down their eyelid and gives a sharp poke to the outside corner of their eye like it's no big deal. He presses down several times in a row without even watering up, which is certainly more than I can say for myself while watching this video. I don't even want to know how he figured out this bizarre trick or how many times he had to practice before getting it right. The world's oceans hold both wonders and terrors. People got a glimpse of an example of such mysteries on November 11th, 2007, 7,800 feet down the Gulf of Mexico. The Perdido oil drilling site sent a camera down for a routine inspection when it caught something unexpected. A bizarre creature swam only a few feet away from the rig, sporting unfathomable features. By far the most eye-catching of them were its long tentacles reaching far down below its body. It almost appears to be looking right at the camera, staring and observing just as being observed. Many commenters have likened it to an alien, with some even joking it is an offspring of Cthulhu. The truth is, thankfully, more simple and far less scary. What was actually filmed is known as a big fin squid, a relatively newly discovered species. It was first documented in September 1988 off the coast of Brazil. Due to the depth at which it lives, sightings are rare, and there is still much about it left to be discovered. In fact, it is still unknown how these animals feed, but it is believed they use their long tentacles to drag against the seafloor to catch organisms to feed off. It is also believed they wait for small plankton to bump into them to eat. Such creatures make stories of sea monsters from folklore make much more sense. For centuries, the idea of the giant squid was a myth until it was proven as a real species, with larger, colossal squid also discovered. With an estimated 80% of the ocean left unexplored, there is bound to be thousands or millions more discoveries of all sorts of odd yet magnificent species out there. A YouTuber named 11 Makeda and their friends are camping in the backyard when they completely lose control of their bonfire. First, they try to put out the blaze with a simple garden hose. When that doesn't work, they try to smother the fire with dirt using shovels. Meanwhile, the flames grow taller and hotter as the fire spreads outwards, threatening to reach a house that's only a short distance away. Also, if it reaches the cornfield behind them, then the fire could quickly cover acres of land. The short 5-minute video ends before we get a chance to see what happens next. Hopefully they did the right thing and called for firefighters to put an end to the backyard inferno. Otherwise, if they were too afraid of getting in trouble and continued to try and contain it themselves, then it might very have cost somebody their home. Ready to explore one of Ohio's most dangerous abandoned places? Neither am I. Let's leave it up to Urbex Dane, who published this urban exploration of Elderwood in August of 2017. According to Dane, this street is one of the most dangerous areas in this half-abandoned city. Willing to take the risk, he entered an empty building on the creepy abandoned Cleveland Street. While inside, a truck pulls up. The truck starts beeping and is playing music loudly. Still, Urbex continues exploring but peers out a second-story window to see who's there. It's not clear what this dude's purpose is. And that strangeness is turned up a notch when a group enters as Dane continues through the home. Unsure of what to do, he waits. Are these just more urban explorers, or is something more nefarious going on? He creeps out into the hall, which is empty. as is the stairwell, and yet he doesn't leave. Instead, he heads upstairs. Down another stairwell, he hears this. That's where his battery runs out. Don't worry, he survived, but he doesn't know what was going on or who these strangers were. Many are noting in the comments that this could very well have been dangerous, and he was lucky he got out of there alive. This toy is apparently possessed by a spirit who wants to imitate whatever its living counterpart does. Here you can see the toddler sitting on a toy truck, so the spirit decides to do the same.
All around that toy. There it goes again, there it goes again. Yep, there it goes again, there it goes again.
Orbs dance all around the yellow toy truck as its wheels slowly creep forward, almost unnoticeable at times. At one point, a larger orb seems to trace the outline of the truck itself in a zigzagging pattern. And maybe it's just me, but it looks like the child notices something too. I'm pretty convinced that this is a real paranormal counterpart, but I'm definitely open to other logical explanations. So be sure to tell me what you think is happening here. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.